covered overtime. Woo! OT, baby.
Woo!
Happy Monday, and Sandra's back.
Yeah, baby.
So what was going on with the Coney Island Firehouse?
The Coney Island Firehouse. So I was coming in this morning. I'm sure that they were sad to see me without makeup, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, guess what Melissa Francis looks like in real life?"
Same. You look fab with
But they were sweet. They recognized you right away walking along. Hey, Melissa, and they said, "We love watching you guys at the Coney Island Firehouse. You do a great job." And I said, "Well, I'm on Outnumbered today, and we will give you a shout out." And they were like,
and we
watching.
did. We did. Now we'll do it on overtime.
Can I give a shout out to, yesterday I look for a moment of like joy and happiness every day in my life and not acknowledge it like in my head that doesn't involve me. And I was walking early yesterday morning. I was walking down 23rd Street, and there a lot of the paramedics parked their ambulances for the fire department across the street. And I looked in, and there's this 2-year-old little girl who's in this ambulance with these 2 paramedics. Her mother was out with her in a stroller, and they just brought her into the ambulance and were showing her everything.
That's so sweet.
And it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just thought, that little girl is going to remember that forever.
For the rest of her life.
And they were so kind, and it was just... It just hit me in such a positive way. So a shout out to all the people who work for the New York City Police and Fire Departments.
Yeah,
for that.
The EMTs and those guys.
Exactly.
I want to start here on the live chat, which is cooking, by the way. Joe1 says, Trump is not accustomed to negotiating relationships and deals with a constant spotlight and critique from the media. I suspect that he posits positions and potential actions that are part of his negotiating tactics only to have the media communicate and hammer them as cast in stone decisions. And you agreed with that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think Trump is not afraid, based on his business background, to say, I want 100. When he's perfectly prepared to settle for 51 if he can get it. Whereas other politicians, certainly in the diplomatic game, they'd say, well, we'd like 51. The most we can say is 55 because otherwise we'll offend people.
Yeah,
and then,
you're
of course, they end up getting 40. So I think Trump just puts it out there and sees what happens. And if he, by putting the cat among the pigeons, he might actually turn out to get 60 in his negotiation.
Rock Oz, a brilliant couch today. Thanks. Marv J, shout me out in Bad Axe, Michigan. Is that an actual place? No.
It is now.
It is now. Yeah, so there we go. Oh gosh, a lot of people just loving the whole show, the whole combination. One thing we didn't really get into in terms of our Supreme Court pick that's going to be rolled out tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern by the president from the White House, as he tweeted out, was really what maybe some of the first things will come up. Because a lot's been on hold for a point of time.
Yeah. Well, we just saw a report a few minutes ago, actually, that one Democratic senator has already said he will filibuster any nominee who is not Merrick Garland, who, of course, was the Obama nominee. Well, it's not going to be Merrick Garland. So I think we're going to see a filibuster. I think they're going to say you've got to get 60 votes. Certainly, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is going to try and do that. And given the number of vulnerable Democrats up in 2018, he may be able to break a Democratic filibuster. But this will consume the energy of the Senate, and certainly it'll allow the House to get way out in front in terms of legislation that will then put even more pressure on the Senate later. I don't think there's a bigger political battle, though, than we're going to see this year.
Really? For that? So interesting. By the way, the Judicial Crisis Network has said it will spend $10 million boosting Mr. Trump's choice, targeting mostly Senate Democrats who were up for re-election in 2018, which made me think of that. Quote, they're going to have to choose between the interests of their constituents and, getting somebody through.
Yeah. Well, I think this is also, it shows how much the political process has infected the judicial process. It used to be that that the judiciary really dealt in purely legal issues, and it felt itself confined to that. But now it's over the years gotten involved in so many fundamentally political questions that the confirmation process is politicized. I think a big part of putting justices on the court who do believe in original intent is to get away with that, and to have them analyzed what the Constitution and the statutes say based on the intent of the drafters, not on what they think the political outcome is.
So there won't be an actual litmus test.
Well, there shouldn't be, but I think replacing Scalia is step one. I think there could well be other vacancies on the Supreme Court, and I think that Trump has the opportunity to fill the lower courts in ways that will obviously have a long-term impact. That, again, is why this election is so important, important, and why so many Democrats are just not willing to accept the result.
Sandra, what are you seeing on Facebook Live?
RBG is hanging on for life.
I'll go back to that. I'm on outnumbered overtime. Well, as you said, it is cooking.
Cliff of the 1%. You think that's that person's real name? Says Dagen, Harris, Sandra, Melissa, grrr. They feel that way about you.
You'll have to explain. I saw that too. You'll have to let us know more about that.
Grr.
You think grr is good or bad?
Oh, I think it's good.
Do you really want me to do it the way it should be done?
Yeah. Oh,
That's what.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because it's got a lot of R's.
Okay.
Anyway,
Very good.
Like Tony the Tiger.
yeah, there's just a lot of love out here, and I love this. Patrice PP, we're all thrilled to see Ambassador Bolton on the couch today.
Yeah, lots of love
I
for
want to come back
Ambassador.
to the grr point.
Yeah.
I think Rick
Please do, Ambassador.
Rick Perry has hopelessly compromised any talk of being on the couch with the comment he made in his confirmation hearing when Senator Al Franken said to him, "Did you enjoy meeting me in my office last week?" And Perry said, "Well, I just hope you're as much fun on the dais as you were on the couch last week."
Oh, wow. It was great. It was very funny.
He did ask to rephrase that.
Franken laughed.
later.
Yes, he did. He actually got Franken to laugh, which was amazing because Franken had come in with this very serious face, like he was furious about this hearing and whatever, and Rick Perry wore him down. It was very funny. He said, I will rephrase that.
So I'll share with you Marlon F's comment. It is tough for people to understand that as a leader, you cannot make decisions with emotion. We have had that for 8 to 24 years. He says, I love the direction we're going in now. Well, fair point, though, about emotion. I'm used to talking about that in trading. Cannot trade on emotion, right? Bad decisions are made when you inject emotion in the picture. But what is that like as a leader, as the leader of the United States, to strip out emotion from the decision-making process?
Well, I think it's the most important thing a president does, and I think some people who watch Trump's public comments and things like that think he's going to approach decision-making in the same way, and I don't think that's been his experience as a business person. I don't think that'll be the way he makes hard decisions in the White House. But I think, as his comments to Senator Schumer indicate, he's a street fighter.
Yes.
You know, he's not going to mince words with these people. And they're
Are you
not used to
referencing?
that.
I know that guy. There's no way those tears were real. There's a 5% chance, he said.
Oliver Klosoff says the nuclear option will be used. Thanks, Harry Reid. You think that they can't get through the nominee without that?
Well, I think
the Supreme Court nominee.
Mitch McConnell will not commit to that yet.
Well, I think their objective is to get through with enough votes to close off the filibuster, and he'd rather not talk. I think you're right. He'd rather not talk about the nuclear option.
Right.
But anybody who thinks it's not there isn't serious. We're not going to see Trump denied the ability to put his nominees on the Supreme Court.
What is going on with the cabinet picks? Like, I know that there's some coming, and I've seen, criticism about both sides of the political aisle saying, well, the Democrats are threatening to just not put anybody through.
But it's ridiculous
and the
what they've
Republicans took a
done.
3-day break in the middle of all of it for their retreat. So where's the truth?
But nonetheless, this goes to the point that the Democrats are judging these cabinet nominees by whether they agree with them or not. Let's take Betsy DeVos. The only reason to vote against her is they're worried what she's going to do as education secretary. But guess what? She's the hand of the president in carrying out education policy. And if you don't like that, see November the 8th and try it over again.
How about like the Secretary of State in the travel ban over the weekend, in part is charged with handling exemptions to the ban.
Yes.
And there's no Secretary of State.
Well, there's an acting Secretary of State, but it shows why the president's top team needs to be in place. If you're a Democrat worried, or anybody worried about the loss of status of cabinet officers, you're just increasing that. You're putting more and more decision-making into the White House because you can't get to the people in the White House. You don't like Steve Bannon? Tough. You can't get to him. So you take it out on cabinet secretaries, you're just weakening their authority.
That's such an interesting point, because John Kerry, Secretary of State, picked by Barack Obama when he was president, was saying last night in detail, I had to step back for a second. I'm like, is he still in charge? Because he was talking about how, with the travel ban, what will really happen if you get there with a green card and what they'll accept and all of that.
President Obama had the same travel ban in place.
Is that why? Because I'm like,
in Iraq.
well, wait a minute, he's not in charge anymore of the State Department.
In Iraq,
I wondered how that
Iraq
worked.
ban for 5-6 months.
Yeah, no, actually, it was a lot more than that. I can tell you after I got the right here.
There were 3 that were added in 2011. The list almost mirror each other.
It's not sweepingly different from what other presidents have done. That's for sure.
All right, Chaos Hiker says, great show. Yes, Bad Axe, Michigan is a real place. I have to be careful how I say that.
So many people.
It's an XE, not an SS. We'll see you tomorrow.